All right. Testis unus, testis nullus. That's basically born out of Roman law. It basically means, from Latin, it means one witness equals no witness. Okay? So basically just mean the testimony about one person in court was to be disregarded unless corroborated by the testimony of at least one other person. So you need at least two witnesses. So basically that's what brings us to today's lecture. The word testicle means witness. So testes is the plural form of testicle. So you basically mean your two testes are your witnesses. All right. Etymologically, the word witness means knowledge or one who knows. So as I told you in my Adam and Eve video, biblically, to know or to witness is a euphemism for the word sex. Alright, so when Adam knew his wife, then they bore Cain and Abel, so on and so forth. So whenever you know someone in the Bible, it just really means it's a euphemism for sex. So I also told you the tree of knowledge is the tree of sex. So you can go back to that video and watch that. Alright, so the land of milk or honey, which is mentioned in Exodus chapter 3 verse 8, Exodus chapter 33 verse 3, the land of milk and honey, is basically talking about your genitals. Alright, so if you go on Wikipedia and look up prostate gland, the prostate gland secretes a milky white fluid, so that's your milk. The seminal vesicles, look up seminal vesicles, they secrete a yellowish fluid, that's your honey. Alright, so biblically, the thigh is a euphemism for the penis. So if you go to Genesis 24, chapter 24 verses 1 through 9, you'll see Abraham he was dying, so he had an elder servant named Eliezer or something like that from Damascus. He had to swear an oath by placing his hand under Abraham's thigh. So he basically told him to grab onto his genitals. Alright, so you can look at that in the story also of Jacob. So you go to my video, Jacob's Epiphany. Before he became Israel, he was wrestling with an angel. An angel threw his hip or thighs out of socket, and basically his penis shrank. So you can just read the rest of that. And they put sinew, or they try to make it like it was a tendon, S-I-N-E-W. So basically, they're talking about the penis, it shrank. Alright? Because basically the angel pulled on it, was touching it. He touched it and threw it out of socket, because he was pulling on it and wouldn't let it go while he was wrestling. So he was trying to basically gain an advantage over Jacob. So euphemisms for penises are used in superstitious fear of mentioning the divine organ directly, the divine organ being the phallus or the penis. Basically, women were told that what was said back then, it was superstitious, that they basically had a lot of control and power over it, which it makes sense, because around women, if you're attracted to women, you basically get excited around women, so on and so forth, or the penis get engorged. So if you look into Deuteronomy chapter 25 verses 11-12, it's a story about a woman whose husband was fighting another man. So I guess he was losing, whether he was losing or winning, I don't know. But the woman decided to step in. And what she did was grab the genitals of the other man, I guess to pull it out of socket or do something with it. But basically her hand had to be cut off. So you weren't allowed to even touch this divine organ, or else your hand would be cut off if it was not your husband's. So you can read that article. I just want to add that in. Alright. And just for your information, genu, G-E-N-U, is Latin for the knee. It's basically another euphemism. It's a Middle Eastern euphemism for the penis, where you get the word genuine. Basically, some people came to believe that the knee was the source of semen. So therefore, paternal rights were established by bouncing the child on your knee. Hence the word genuine or legitimate child. So you get the word genuine. So swearing oaths by placing your hand on each other's privates, like in Genesis 24, as in Abraham. It's an old custom or habit still common among the Arabs, or Arabs, I should say. So that's just another custom. They grab each other's genitals and make an oath, Alright. And by the way, if you go into Greek mythology, the story of Dionysus was born through a mortal woman and Zeus, a god, so half God, half mortal. So just another Jesus story, half man, half mortal. Basically they had to hide him because Zeus wasn't supposed to have sex with a mortal woman, so they had to have the baby. The baby's going to get killed by his wife. So what he did was I think he's maybe like the mortal woman, I think it's Samil. He got her pregnant and basically got the baby while she was 3 months pregnant and put the fetus, sewed him into his thigh. And basically 6 months later, Dionysus was born from Zeus's thigh. So that's just just give you the Greek version of it. I'm showing that I'm just trying to drill a story home. So do your own research. I'm basically giving you all the things you can look up. So just look up the etymology of the word genu. You'll know it's from the knee. It means knee. Look at those verses and so on and so forth. So I always want you to do your own work, because I've heard people say the land of milk and honey is your head, that the pineal gland secretes this hormone, and that's maybe white, and the pituitary gland secretes another hormone that may be yellow. It may be true. I couldn't find anything. So I try to give you stuff where you can look up on Wikipedia and stuff like that. That doesn't mean it's true, but at least some people need this validation. What you're going to start doing when you start doing magic is meditate on things, and you get all your answers in your dreams and so on and so forth. So for now, a lot of people need validation. So I try to give you stuff where you can look at it for yourself. And I don't listen to anybody, nor do I want you to just listen to me. I didn't listen to that person that told me through a lecture I seen that said that the brain or the head was the place where these fluids were, or this was the land of milk and honey. So having said that, let me just point some things out. So basically, if you looked at my Moses video, I kind of touched on what a burning bush was and Mount Sinai and so on and so forth. So this time I went on and just drew out the whole Kabbalah tree of life. You keep seeing these in all my videos. It's just the easiest way to explain most of these stories. So up here we never really discussed Ein, which means nothingness. Ein Sof, limitless life. Limitlessness, and Ein Sof limitless light. So those are basically the triple darkness. You may, if you heard of Elijah Muhammad talk about it in Nation of Islam. Well, these basically the 3 trimesters of birth. Alright, and then it gives birth to all these emanations or sephiras. Alright, so on this side I just show how the tree of life lands up with the body. On this side I just use the chakras. Alright, so the reason why I want to point out the chakras, don't be confused by the names. Like this is called the sacral or sacrum chakra, number 2. Even though it's not lined up with the sacrum. Actually, the root chakra is lined up with at the base of the spine. So at the very tip of it, right around the sacrum area, what's known as the perineum, between your genitals and your anus. The navel chakra is not lined up with your navel. It's actually lined up with the solar plexus, which is between the heart and the navel. All right, so somewhere like in between. Oh, you can't see right there. I'm sorry. So between your heart and your navel, somewhere between like the middle of that. All right. So I just wanted to show you on this end, even though this lines up with the feet, you know your root chakra is not in your feet. All the chakras line up with your spine and your endocrine glands. However, on the Kabbalah tree of life, this lines up with the feet. So if you would place your body over this would be your feet. The 9th emanation or sephira would be your genitals. So this is your side. So this is the land of milk and honey. And this is what I want to point out. This is the land of milk and honey right here. Okay? I also wrote in here Mount Sinai and Mount Horeb. So from my Moses video, these are the 2 mountains that he had met God. So I wanted to tell you, because they try to make it like these are the same 2 mountains. If you want to make these real, they try to say this is a part of a mountain chain, and this is the southern mountain, the most southern part of it, the Mount Sinai, and the northern end of this chain of mountains is Mount Horeb. So if you want to look at it like if you want to take it literally, because they got to try to make you think these places are real. But on here, if you look at the Kabbalah tree of life, this sephira right here, number 9, it's ruled by the moon. I told you, Sin is a Sumerian moon god. So Mount Sinai represents the moon. So this is where he met God at one time. Over here, Mount Horeb means sun or radiating. So this is ruled by the sun. This is also the solar plexus, solar, sun. So this is where you have those nerves in your stomach where they radiate. And this lands up with the heart chakra. So this is the middle of your body. So this is really important. So this is the heart chakra. And that's why Moses, when he walked away the second time with the commandments, he had a shiny face. All right. So he never made it to the promised land, which I believe is up here. So this is not the land of milk and honey. This is the promised land. Well, I told you in the Masonic video, you got to cross the desert. Remember, the whole Moses story is about getting them out of Egypt, going towards Canaan, up towards Canaan through the desert. So this is crossing the desert right here when you get to the throat chakra and to the promised land. He never made it. He died before he got to the promised land. So if he seen God up here, then he wouldn't have died before he got to the promised land. He couldn't have never made it to the promised land, and this couldn't have been the same as the burning bush place. So God must have met him in the heart. All right. So if you look up the heart, this right here is the one that touches every emanation or every sephira. This is the one in Star Wars. This is Luke Skywalker. This is the central one, the sun. This is the solar plexus in our body. So this touches each and every one of these other 10 sephiras. So that's what makes it so special. So this is the balance the light. Not only the up and the bottom, the left to the right. So this is the when you want to balance the light. That's what the whole Star Wars movie is about, balancing the forces. So I just want to read. You can look it up yourself. That is called Tifera, or beauty. It's basically associated with spirituality, balance. I just told you about the balance, up and down, left and right. Integration, miracles. Because remember, God gave Moses a lot of powers, told him what he can do with his rod, and so on and so forth, and compassion. So just look up Tifera. Once again, just piggybacking on the Moses video. All right. So this is a solar plexus, even though it lines up with the heart chakra. So don't get confused with the body parts and the chakras. This lines up with the heart chakra, but it also lines up with the solar plexus, which is between, a little bit below the heart, but above the navel. All right. So these are your hips, sephira 7 and 8. Right below there is the genitals. So you just kind of visualize the whole Jacob wrestling with an angel and the inside of your thighs, because you got your hips, and these can be like right below your hips are your thighs, or your legs, if you will, that lead to your genital area. So that's what that story is basically talking about. So he wrestled all down here with these lower part of the body, and he was able to ascend up here and become Israel, because he came up here with a face and a forehead chakra. The crown chakra is not necessarily on your body or inside your head. It's really outside your head, but you know. Okay, so your genital area is basically the witnesses. So I just wanted to tell you, remember this is Yod. So the face or the head is Yoda in the Star Wars video. So this is your head up here. Down here is where you get into Eve, other name Hawa. So this translates to Yahweh because of the W, but sometimes it's YHVH, so you can translate it to Jehovah. So that's where you get the word Jehovah Witnesses. We talking about the nuts, the testicles again. The testes, I should say. So that's Jehovah Witnesses. So this is the Holy of Holies. This is your tabernacle, your whole body. Above the throat is your head. So this would be, backwards it would be A-L-L-A, which is Allah, and then H is up here with the Y. So you got Allah going up like this. All right, and Yahweh going down or whatever have you. But, so this is E. This is when you start having a physical life, because E means the mother of living. Because I remember I told you in the old video, it's, you know, Abram became Abraham, Sarai became Sarah, because they earned their H, or they became physical. All right, and you remember this is also the Garden of Eden. This number 9, this 9th sephira, Canaan, the land of milk and honey. This is the Garden of Eden. I interpreted Eden as being the whole body, and the garden is down here, because remember Adam and Eve are a pair of sex cells. They're in the process of meiosis, not mitosis. So they basically the egg and the sperm. And that's what they represented. And they fell down into what you would call Egypt, or physical life, because they tried to eat of the tree. They ate of the tree of good and evil. Remember, the tree of knowledge is really the penis, the genital area. So this is the root of both of the trees. The spine is the tree of life. It goes up the middle, up. So this is the tree of life. This is one that God of the Old Testament didn't want you to eat from. Remember, he's a jealous God. He's not the creator. So don't, you know, if you want to worship Yahweh, then that's your thing, or idolatroth. But he's not the creator of everything. He's the jealous God that created all this physical world. So he's below this area right here, the throat chakra. So what happens is they don't want, them and the other Elohim don't want you to be like God and live forever. So all you have is you're just like them by being able to be a creator, because now you can create using reproduction. So this is actually the Garden of Eden. The whole thing is the garden. But when they fell into skin, they fell down into the physical world, which is Malkut, which represented in Egypt in the Moses story. So the middle pillar is your spine, but they both trees meet up in the midst, or the middle of the garden. So this is the middle. So the roots are in right here in this 9th emanation or sephira, where your genital area is. So you're either going to go up and ascend, or you're going to come out and create in the physical world. So you're basically coming out and then going down, because you're basically creating the physical when you have sex. I hope that makes sense. I just want to drive that point home. Anything else I leave out? I think that's it. I try to keep the videos nice and short, just before I cut them off, so I won't have to do them all over. So just copy all this down, and that should give you a good quick view on what the land of milk and honey is. And because this is the same on the this 2-ball cane. When you come a 3rd degree Mason, that's the password. You get 2 balls and a cane, basically 2 nuts and your penis. So that's what this is all talking about. right here. This is the same, your side, or this is your foundation. So this is the garden. This is where everything is founded on. This is your foundation. This is the base or foundation of both trees. You're either gonna go up, you can ejaculate or ejaculate. Okay? So that's what this is all about. You're either gonna create spiritually in the rise, or you can create something physical and drop down into skin, or make a baby in the case. I think that's it. Yeah, that should be it. Alright. So anything I forget, I'll just probably repeat in another video and cross-reference anyway. Alright, hope you enjoyed.